Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here with another podcast spotlight. This time we're going to be looking at ConverSWations, hosted by Pat and Charles. A long time ago, in a van on a way to Orlando, a couple of nerds had a series of ConverSWations. And the rest is history. Really, this is a fun podcast. These guys... they have their banter back and forth, their puns, and the commercials. Yes, they do the fake Star Wars commercials. Really fun stuff. Now, I asked them what they would say if you were to listen to one of their episodes. Which episode would you want somebody to listen to decide whether or not that you like their podcast? And they said episode 51 and 51A. Where they fully break down the intergalactic banking clan. Yes, the banking clan, and they go into deep detail. And it's funny because that's what's on every Star Wars fan's mind is what about the banking, and it's a big deal. You got the war going on, and that costs money, and it affects the economy and and trade routes. So they go in depth on that. And a comedy ensues. I, however, have a different one I would recommend, and that would be episode 52, Sellout, the commercial episode, where they take all their commercials up to that point and slap them all together in an episode looking back on them. There is some fun stuff in there. And I've even gotten to do a little bit in one of the commercials, but these will crack you up. And they have a lot of fun. They work with a lot of the other members in the community, especially at the Red 5 Network, a lot with Jedi Temple Archives, and just some fun stuff. Other episode that I really like of their podcast, episode 57, the Quarren and Mon Calamari. So they each took one and kind of had to battle out which one was better. And I really appreciate this because, it was very one-sided, but they managed to give some credit to the Mon Calamaris and, to produce some content, even though there's not much there for them, like there is for the Quarren. Trying to say that with a straight face. Recent one that was episode 66, which was on Order 66, but they put a little twist on it. Unlike every other podcast that has done a thing on Order 66, theirs was Dex's Order 66, and they asked the fans to come up with dishes. I won't mention mine because it wasn't that great, but by golly, Cam Ray submitted pork poppers and tauntaun fritters, and I'm supposed to be on a diet, and I can't stop eating these pork poppers. Not the best place to get them, but Sonic's has them now, and I just keep going by and getting pork poppers. They're probably the worst pork poppers out there, but you go that and you get the happy hour blue milk, and it just... Anyways, another great episode 49, Hondo Anaka. They do an amazing Hondo Anaka voice, and they joke around in that. So of course the episode that talks about Hondo Anaka, the comedy just ensues through the whole thing. Definitely a great one to give a listen to on that. But by far, they have a series called their Banter Fodder series, which is when they have a guest on and they just kind of talk about a subject for the guest. And they had a set of guests on twice, and really, these are the true MVPs, stars of the ConverSWation podcast, and that is their wives, Bernadette and Kelly. They started with episode 31. And then came back in episode 36 to talk about Attack of the Clones. Now, listening to them talk about how frustrating it was to see how dumb Yoda was because he didn't recognize the Palpatine was a Palpatine, and they wanted to give him a good, Italian what for punch across the face. It was a hilarity. I loved it. I can't wait till they have their wives back on. I know, talking to Pat and Charles, they saw a huge spike in their podcast as they realized that their wives were the true MVPs. So I am sure they will be bringing them back again as soon as they can bribe them to come back on and talk more Star Wars. But it was their take on Star Wars is great because they're not like, my wife could care less about Star Wars. She no interest, original trilogy, nothing. Sci-fi is not her thing. But they enjoy at least the original movies to an extent. But and then of course like Baby Yoda and all that. But just hearing their thoughts when they're having to actually examine the lore. From the casual thought, the real salt of the earth thoughts on it it's just gold. And so with that, check out ConverSWations. As we said, some top episodes to check out: episodes 51, 51A, episode 52 for all the commercials, 57 to really definitively see why the Quarren beat out the Mon Calamari. Sorry. Figure out some new Star Wars dishes you want to have next time you go to Galaxy's Edge at Dex's Order episode 66, episode 49, Hondo Anaka himself, and of course, the top episodes, my picks, are episode 31 and 36, where Bernadette and Kelly steal the show. I'll catch you guys in the next video.